Independent Living Resource Center, San Francisco's Nick Feldman Assistive Technology Device Lending Program, YouTube video for a Wristrait Knives demonstration presented by Michael Reed of Wristrait Knives. Game on.
Hi, my name is Michael Reed. Through my career as a butcher, I developed a repetitive strain injury in my wrist that now forces me to use knives like this with vertical handles on them. All vertical handle knives that were available on the market I found to be intolerably bad. So I took up woodworking in order to make my own vertical knife handles and attach them to blades I cut the handles off of. So this is the Steerex Butcher Steak Knife. This is the only company that was making a butcher steak knife with a vertical handle, and this is the only size that they make, 9 inches. The most commonly used size of butcher steak knife is 10 inches. In addition to that, they also come in 12-inch lengths. This is not for differences in user preference. Longer knives are for cutting wider things. In addition to that, this catch point on the heel snags on the meat on the backstroke, producing a ripped, jagged edge down one side of the steak. A butcher's steak knife is supposed to have its blade sunken into the handle so that it acts as a stopper. This is the chef knife made by the same company. It weighs 1/3 of a pound. They advertise this lightweight as a beneficial design feature for people who have a harder time handling heavier knives.
I don't like the plastic handle.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
The thing is, differences in blade weight aren't for differences in user preference. They're optimal for different things. Lightweight blades are better for slicing soft things. Heavyweight blades are better for chopping hard things. The distinction is going to come up later in the demonstration as well, but it's worth noting when you're slicing, you're moving the blade back and forth while applying very little downward pressure. When you're chopping, you're mostly moving the blade up and down and applying very little, if any, forward and backward motion. Now about people who have a harder time handling heavier knives. My mother suffers from moderate arthritis, and I had her try my knives out, and she said that the handle style was beneficial, but that the light weight of the blade counteracted what benefit the handle offered. She does have a harder time handling heavier blades, but she found that the vertical handle style enabled her to handle a heavier blade than she's normally otherwise able to. There's 2 things that a vertical handle does. One is it allows your whole fist and all your fingers to work together. When you're pointing a straight handle forward, you're loosening the grip on your 2 strongest fingers and actually forcing your pinky and ring finger to do 60% of the gripping force. And the pushing force is coming from your thumb. When you're holding a vertical handle, all 5 fingers are locked shut, and the pushing force is coming from your palm backed by your arm. The makers of pretty much every hand tool figured this out a long time ago. A straight back handle is an extremely suboptimal way to hold on to something. One simple formula for making something more ergonomic is just to look at how more powerful tools are designed. And another thing that the top-mounted vertical handle does is it brings the gripping point closer to the center of gravity. If you imagine holding something's weight off to one side, it gives it the most possible leverage against you. Another feature that I added with the chef knife is that I extended the cutting edge all the way to underneath the handle. This is a mincing point for like garlic and herbs.
Yeah.
It's actually similar to an herb knife, which only has a blade like this long, but it already has a vertical handle on it.
That's smart.
So you just made two knives into one.
Yeah.
You know, by trying to make it more ergonomically correct too.
Yeah. One of the reasons for some of the design flaws with the Sterex knife line is, from what I can tell, this company does not design knives. This company designed a handle that can be mounted to the tang of a knife blank that was designed to be a regular straight back handle knife. That's why the cutting edge doesn't extend there. That's why the catch point is right here.
So is it possible that the knife could snap off of the handle? Could it break and come off?
I don't know. I mean, you probably have to put a lot of force into it to make that happen. But maybe.
What is that glue for?
Which glue?
Groove. The little groove.
Oh, I don't know. That's just the way they make it.
Oh.
That's also why their handles are both identical. You'll notice, like, on my butcher knife and my chef knife, the handles are different. There's a reason for that. The reason is, when a butcher is slicing a steak, you're not slicing with the blade parallel to the cutting board like that. There's an initial push and then a long, smooth motion where you pull back, but the blade is angled downwards. I added a thumb tab for putting more arcing pressure down on the nose. The flanged top is kind of more, if you wanted to stab something, it's modeled after a handsaw, and it does help keep the knife in your hand if it's not being gripped very hard. It'll keep it from falling out. But it's really undesirable for the butcher steak knife motion. Moving along.
Move a little bit to the left. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You're good. You're good.
So this is called a kai dao, or a Chinese vegetable cleaver. Lack of knowledge of these knives has held back the creators of adaptive knives a great deal. This is the most common household knife that's used for most tasks throughout most countries in Asia. While it's capable of slicing, it's most optimal for chopping. This blade is called a French chef knife, and it uses an all-purpose thing throughout most Western countries. And while it's capable of chopping, it's more optimal for slicing. This is called a canted handle. Because it's farther out, it makes the blade more whippy. You have less power than you do with a top-mounted handle, but you can move it more quickly. So for chopping elongated things that are being fed into the blade by your opposing hand, like carrots or celery or something like that, this knife is a lot faster. This one is more optimal for people who have wrist conditions where they have to keep their wrist in its neutral position. It's less beneficial for people who have problems with their fingers and have poor grip strength.
So if they have like a brace on, they can still use it.
Yeah, you want to try it?
Yeah, I do, because this is the reason why I can't work. I was with Whole Foods as a catering chef for 15 years, and I have carpal tunnel really bad.
It works better if you put your thumb going up the spine.
Right here?
Yeah, and your working height in relation to your body is going to make a difference. So
yeah, this is kind of low.
Yeah, if you had it more like the way it would be if you were working at a countertop instead of, because this isn't really a work table.
I like that. Do that again, Lucy.
Oh.
Okay.
I miss cooking and prepping food so bad, but I can't do it with this hand because of my thumb.
Are you left-handed?
I know I'm right-handed.
You're right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Okay.
This is nice. Very, very nice.
Thank you.
This might be able to make me go back to work.
Well, I noticed a common theme when you guys are checking this out is that wait, I got to stop talking when I move the thing because then I could just reset my video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed a common thing where you don't break the wrist. There's a term that I learned was like it's called breaking your wrist, where you want your wrist as straight as possible, like at a 90-degree, as straight as possible when you're doing your tasks. And if you break your wrist one way or the other, that's what causes strain on your body. The way what you're showing me and everything, you're not breaking your wrist. Like the term of where your wrist twists down or twists up or side to side.
Yeah.
That's also a person with a brace could use it.
Yeah, well, because like breaking your wrist is what that's the term I learned on it. But you want to keep your wrist straight as possible.
The term I'm used to hearing is keeping one's wrist in its neutral position.
That's it.
And actually, the name of my line of knives is called Wristrait knives.
Wristrait?
Wristrait. It's spelled kind of funny. I'll show you a business card. I found when I spelled it Traight, people were prone to mispronouncing it. And it's also sort of a pun from a video that I saw of a guy with no arms who drives around with his feet, and he said that it's not a disability, it's just a characteristic or a trait, because we all have things that we can't do, and like, what's wrong with your feet that you can't drive a car with them, or your feet disabled or something?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, there's a famous drifter. There was a guy that drifts, and he drives with his feet.
Yeah.
And he's like drift the car and does everything almost better than able-bodied people.
Yeah, I have a deaf friend, and he says, "I'm not hearing impaired. You guys are deaf impaired."
Yeah. And these knives have definitely been a very defining trait of my personality over the last few years.
Do you do paring knives, like the little small ones?
I asked him that already.
I don't.
No, okay.
There's another company. There's a couple of other companies that do. My whole shtick is the really large ones. I was really frustrated by the fact that all the vertical handle knives that I found that were available were all the undersized ones. It was the smallest sizes that were available, and it was the biggest, strongest tasks that gave me the most difficulty. Giving me an undersized tool and then advertising that the tool is easier to handle was the frustrating thing. Actually, I'm gonna pull up my laptop because
that's a cleaver, right? This one right there.
This
Equivalent to a cleaver.
This is the blade of a Chinese vegetable cleaver or kaidao, like I just talked about. So my daughter's left hand is paralyzed, and the basically the knife on the market that is marketed for people that only have use with one hand is these rocker knives or ulus. This is basically a culturally appropriated variation of an ulu. The ulu was developed by the Inuit. It was meant to be an all-purpose multi-tool that was used for dismembering whole carcasses and scraping hides and carving bone and things like that. It was not designed for chopping vegetables. It was not even designed for cutting downward onto a cutting board. It was made for cutting forwards. And there is no benefit to having a semicircular blade on a vegetable chopping knife. For chopping, the ideal edge you want is a straight edge that makes contact with the board across its whole length, instead of something forcing you to rock it. They discovered that Ulus had this nifty ability to be used one-handed, but nobody thought to isolate the design feature that made that possible and attach it to a blade that was optimal for chopping vegetables with. They just marketed Ulus to people with one hand. A person with two hands does not use the same type of knife for cutting up whole carcasses that they would use for chopping vegetables with. I don't know why anyone thinks a person with one hand ought to. This is a knife that I designed for chopping vegetables with one hand. I call it the overhand chopper. It has that same feature, the handle mounted above the center of the blade so that the force keeps the object in place when you push straight down on it instead of allowing it to roll out of your way. A one-handed knife is only going to be capable of chopping. It cannot be used for slicing, because if you're moving the knife back and forth, you're going to roll the thing out of the way. There are adaptive cutting boards for people with one hand that have, there's a variety of different features. Some of them have a bed of nails sticking up that you can skewer food on. Some of them have a sort of a clamp or some elastic bands that you can hold food with. The thing about adaptive cutting boards for one-handed use is that they slow food prep down significantly because you have to fasten the food into these gadgets and then undo it out like that. So I recommend that adaptive chopping knives and adaptive cutting boards be used in conjunction with each other. They're both going to be optimal for things that the other one falters at. And another thing that I found about this design that wasn't what I made it for, but it had this nifty ability. Oh, you got one.
Yeah, we have a full kit for that. And if you'd like to borrow it, you can reach out to Maddie Soltanante at ILRCSF. Yeah. So yeah, we have it for loan.
Okay.
But
yeah, that's one example right there. I was telling her earlier that I had one that I had made for my daughter by modifying a wooden cutting board.
That's so cool.
It's not a design that I have mass produced. I don't offer it to consumers. The design is open source. If somebody wants to learn how to make one, I can draw you a sketch out of what it looks like.
That's great.
Yeah.
There's a couple reasons why I think the design works better as a customization rather than as a mass-produced product. One is the fact that it has to be right-handed or left-handed.
Yes.
And the other is the fact that you lose a lot of workspace with all the little food holding things on there. So you really want to max out your counter space. It works better if you go measure your workspace and then get a cutting board that's exactly that size or a little bit larger and cut it down to the full dimensions that you have available.
That's great.
Do you have a photo or picture of it?
Well, we could get them connected with Sandra too. She has we have.
Are you local here?
I live in Oakland.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah.
I miss Oakland.
So another nifty ability that this knife has that I discovered after I had made it, it wasn't what I designed it for, but by bringing the grip point even closer to the center of gravity on the blade, it enables people who have a hard time handling heavier knives to handle a much heavier knife than they are ordinarily able to. My mother, with her arthritis, can cleave chicken bones now.
Wow.
I can cleave chicken bones.
And yeah, if you need a burst of power, you can pick this up and swing it and hit something with it.
And it's stable, and you got your wrist in a neutral position.
Yep.
So it's way more ergonomic.
You have to put it on something to stabilize it, and you can just do it.
I would want to keep everything well clear out of the way when you're swinging it for safety's sake.
We don't want to be a statistic.
I would not want to use something like that if you're going to hit it. It would be good to use this. Also, this is good used not as a primary knife, but in conjunction with other knives. So if you want to use this to swing and just chop something in half, and then once you've got two flat faces, you can face them downwards to cut something up into little bite-sized pieces.
Slice it in half.
Yep.
Oh wow.
So with and then too, this works for people that are able-bodied too, because it'll also allow them to work more efficiently, work faster, and not get the wrist problems and damage over time doing their job.
Prevention as well.
Yes. Yes. I have found a lot of people with no hand or wrist ailments whatsoever simply prefer the feel of vertical handle knives. Also, I went down this rabbit hole studying ergonomics and prevention of repetitive strain injuries, and OSHA has been recommending vertical handle knives for use in professional settings such as kitchens and butcher shops for over 30 years.
Wow.
Yet no major knife manufacturer has stepped up to make professional grade knives that conform to OSHA's ergonomic safety recommendations.
Yeah.
I found that there's a great deal of crossover in design features that OSHA recommends for ergonomic safety with adaptive features for people with disabilities, because they function on similar principles. You're just trying to minimize the amount of force that the user puts out, or I should say, you're trying to maximize use of the force that the user is putting out in order to minimize the amount of force that they have to put out. So things like textured grips or foamy grips are one. Increased leverage is one. Allowing the user to use their whole hand to grab something instead of having to grab it with their fingertips. Triggers that depress with at least two fingers, if not all four. There's more that are escaping me. Things that have been put on my handles, like one is contoured grips, just that the bulbous belly with a taper around the index and pinky finger and flanges on the outside of the handle.
I like that one.
This one?
It looks like very natural holding it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about hand making stuff yourself is you make a rough draft essentially, and you can put it into use and try it for a while and say, I like this general concept, but it kind of rubs me the wrong way at just this one point right here. Pull out the Dremel tool, take off a little bit more material from that problem spot, sand it smooth, go back. This was, I got a picture somewhere of like the first one I ever made, and it looks really rough. I did not know anything about woodworking at all. And
So you did the trial and error method at first?
Pretty much, it was already attached to the blade before the design was finalized. Like brought it into work one day. Like it seemed good when I was at home, but I brought it into work and was like, oh geez, after that's been in my hand for a couple of hours, it really starts to give me a blister.
And you're the subject matter expert because it's what you do for a living, you know, like.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Well, does anybody have any questions? I'm pulling up the picture of the cutting board.
Do you do like flea markets, or do you just are those in stores, or is it directly from you?
I have an online store.
Okay.
They're available on Amazon, but I prefer people not buy them off of Amazon because I make more money if you get them directly from me.
Did you give me a business card?
I can.
And what's your website?
It's on the.
It's not on the business cards because it's wristrait-knives.com.
I have it on.
You got it on something?
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Okay, great. Yeah, just want to, if we're making this video, I want to make sure we put all your
.com.
information on there.
.com,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
.com? Okay.
Do you want to add it manually?
I'll add it manually in the text afterwards. Yeah, no problem. That is great.
I'm gonna write it on the back.
There's also a distributor called Butcher Better that carries them. They have an online catalog, and they offer a knife rental service where, like, professional kitchen, it's kind of like a linen service. You say, okay, we've got 10 workers on the line, we need 10 knives. They give you 10 knives, they come back in 2 weeks, pick them up for sharpening, drop you off 10 freshly sharpened ones.
I really like this because that is one of my what's that word, setbacks. And I have to get my IHSS hours increased because I can't do my food prep without, even when I wear a brace, it's kind of uncomfortable. I can't do it like I used to. I have all these little devices that, like, instant choppers and stuff, but it just doesn't, it's not the same. I like that glide when I'm dropping or slicing.
For sure. Carpal tunnel syndrome and arthritis are the two most common conditions that vertical handle knives are marketed for. Although they've been found to benefit people with a surprising range of conditions that they weren't initially created for. I knew somebody that had hand-arm vibration syndrome. So she had, like, a numbness and tingling in her fingertips, resulting in a loss of coordination. She had as much grip strength as she ever did, but she can't really feel what her fingers are doing, and knife use was something that she was clumsy with. But she found that vertical handles with the fist locked shut helped her maintain control over a blade.
So with a heavier blade, a person with a tremor could do it because it won't shake as much because it's heavy, right? And it's going up and down.
Yeah, that's a lot of things that are marketed for people with tremors are just handles that are designed to be held in the fist instead of in the fingertips. So I originally created this design for my daughter, whose left hand is paralyzed. After I created this, I had a friend tell me that her uncle, who lives states away, I never got to meet the guy, but he had a hand amputated a long time ago. It was like Vietnam War.
I thought he was a woodshop teacher.
But was starting to develop carpal tunnel in his remaining hand in conjunction with his use of an ulu. Because it's such a suboptimal design.
Oh my god.
Yeah. To complete a cut, you have to rock it back and forth.
Wow.
There is one other thing that I'll show that I've never built one of these things myself. I just saw it when I was Googling what type of adaptive knives exist. I've never made one because I don't know anyone who needs this.
Let's see.
But it's called a cutting board with pivot knife. And by looking at it, I can tell you right off the bat, they used the wrong blade and they used the wrong handle. So, a knife that's mounted to a hinged fixture is only going to be capable of chopping. It cannot slice. So you want a blade with a straight edge that makes contact across the entire length rather than a curved blade that just hits a single point. You're giving somebody weight assistance with the hinged fixture. When they're lifting it up, they're only lifting half the weight's blade anyway. So having a heavier blade with more weight assistance would be strongly preferable. And the handle on a hinge mounted tool, you want a horizontal sideways handle, preferably one that can rotate in your fist as you raise and lower it.
Oh yeah, that would twist your wrist.
Well, like I said, I've never made one of these.
What is that thing?
It's a chopper.
It's just a mounting bracket. I could get something similar from any hardware store. Like I said, I've never made anything like this, but I could make something like this really easily.
And for your next challenge,
just a matter of drilling a couple of holes, getting an L bracket from a hardware store, putting a wing nut and a key screw through those and screwing it down and putting a horizontal handle on it.
That's
so
great.
That's kind of cool.
It is professional grade items, which is like.
And I was also gonna put it out. Yeah, you can hold it. That wood, I like this wood better. The first batch that I had made had this wood, and then when I ordered my second batch, they were out of this kind of wood.
So these handles come in different sizes. So it's like
The butcher knife I get in a larger size than the chef knife, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that it's a longer, more powerful motion rather than a bunch of little motions. So a little bit fatter handle tends to be preferable for that. And the other reason is that butchers are almost all men, like 99%. So the average hand size of the average butcher is going to be larger than the average person. Down the line, I want to offer different handle thicknesses as an option. I need to be ordering in greater bulk from my manufacturer in order to offer that option. As it stands now, I can offer some level of customization to a small number of people. I don't really have my professional workshop set up. I just moved recently and I'm doing end of life care for my father, and down the line I want to get my woodworking up and running again. But this is a hobby for me. So if somebody thinks up a type of adaptive knife that they want that would be helpful for them that is not currently available anywhere else, within reason, I'm willing to try to put that together for them.
Wow.
One idea that I thought of that I haven't made because I don't know anyone who needs this specific thing is just to put a secondary handle towards the front of the blade extending sideways, so it had the grip orientation of like a chainsaw or an angle grinder, like I talked about, looking how
that's what I was thinking of.
More powerful tools are designed.
You have to have that side handle on it so you can put pressure on both sides.
It gives you one hand to control what the nose is doing.
That would be awesome.
If somebody
rotate, so you wouldn't have to
like a circular handle, a less flat one. Just one idea. I said if somebody's got two fingers amputated and they want to handle with the flanges down here like this,
like my brother.
I can make something like that.
Within reason.
I don't have the ability to mass produce them. If I had a whole bunch of people coming to me asking for that, I would have to stop offering it. But if one person wants one thing, this is fun for me.
So this is highly custom.
Yeah.
I love it. The wood. I'm sorry. What kind of wood is? They look three different handles that look different to me. Is it all different wood, or is it just a stain?
These two are one kind of wood. These two are a different kind of wood than those, but they're the same kind as each other. I know they look very different. It's just it's the same species, but a different specimen. Okay. This is called Paurosa. This was actually the type of wood that I used in the first knife handle I ever made, and I didn't know anything about woodworking. I just walked into the wood shop and asked the guy, what kind of wood should I use for culinary knife handles? And he told me that one. And looking back on it, it was a good suggestion. There's a whole bunch of woods that are totally suitable.
What makes this compare?
As far as stability and moisture resistance and workability, I think it has the best balance of those three attributes. So there's some woods that are higher quality, but where what starts to happen is that they become really difficult to work with and are not something that I would want to recommend for the beginner to try their hand with.
Are they hand washable only, or
any wood handle knife you should only hand wash. It should not go in a dishwasher, and you shouldn't like soak it in hot soapy water. Like it's
maybe just wash the blade and just kind of like rinse off the handle.
Yeah, I mean you can wash the handle. What you don't want to do is you don't want to submerge it. Because running water over it is mostly the water is gonna run off of it. If you submerge it, then like the air bubbles are gonna come out of it, and the water's gonna go into it. Yeah. Yeah, it's just whatever. And you can try out whatever.
We're getting nice a little far away before I stop it.
Whatever knives you want to try. I would say now that we got it halved, this knife would be big enough. I recommended the super huge one for getting a piece off.
Nice. Wait, let me get cutting.
Hold on. Let me just get the blade out of the way and point them away from us. And what's the name of your website again?
Wristrait-knives.com.
Great.
Wristrait-knives.com.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
That is nice. I like it.
And I'm going to put a picture at the end too.
Oh wait, I can just put the card up.
All right. Looks like it works. And thank you for the watermelon. We scored.
Oh, this is nice. This is smooth. Put it in front of the thing.
Take this, sir. Or you're going to keep it.
Oh, I like to copy it down.
ILRCSF wants to thank Michael Reed for his presentation on Wristrait knives. To learn more about Wristrait knives, please head to their website at wristrait-knives.com. To email for questions, wristraigtknives@gmail.com. For a demo or to borrow Wristrait knives, contact Marisol Ferrante, marisol@ilrcsf.org, or call 628-231-2696.